Woodridge. My name is Faith Grosshans and I'm the girls minister here. And today I actually wanted to share with you guys a little story about myself. One of the things I loved doing growing up was I loved going shopping with my mom. But I would never actually bring her an item and ask her if she could buy it for me. I would always bring it to her and I would kind of put it right up to my face and go, "Mom, isn't this really beautiful?" And do a little bit of the blinking a little bit to see if I could swoon her over to buying whatever this item was. And I very quickly learned that I needed money in order to buy all of these things that I wanted. And so I was willing to do whatever it took to get more money. And my mom quickly picked up on this. And so she started giving me more and more chores to do over the weekend, to the point where I was deep cleaning our house every single weekend. But the thing was, I was willing to do whatever I needed to do in order to get more and more money so I could buy more things. And so here's the thing that I want to talk about today is money. And I know it's something that we talk about a lot, but it's actually something that Jesus talks about more than heaven, more than hell, more than sex. I mean, this was a huge deal to Jesus. And so I think it's okay if we talk about it a little bit more. But in Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21, it says this: "Don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where the thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroy and where thieves don't break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Jesus is warning of the treasures of this world. He's talking about money so much because he knows that it can be such a stumbling block for us. And one of the things I love in this passage that it talks about is the concept of treasure. It actually reminds me of a missionary that over the past couple of years I've had the opportunity to learn about, and her name was Karen. Karen went overseas and actually served in some really dangerous places. And in fact, one day there was a raid that happened and Karen and a handful of others died during this time. But before she had left a letter in the hands of her pastor and said, "Only open this in case something happens to me." And they opened up this letter, and I want to read to you some of what she said. She said this: "Dear pastors, you should only be opening this letter in the event of death. When God calls, there are no regrets. I tried to share my heart with you as much as possible. My heart for the nations. I wasn't called to a place, I was called to Him. To obey was my objective, to suffer was expected. His glory was my reward. His glory is my reward." The missionary heart. They care more than some think is wise, risk more than some think is safe, dream more than some think is practical, expect more than some think is possible. I was called not to comfort or success, but to obedience. There is no joy outside of knowing Jesus and serving Him. I love you too and my church family in His care, Karen. Now, the thing I love about this story, that I love about this letter in Karen's life, is that she knew where her treasure lied. And that was in the fact that it was His glory that meant everything to Karen. It was His glory that she was willing to fight for. Just like that silly little girl that I told you about at the beginning, when I was willing to do whatever it took to get just another dollar, just another toy from the store. Karen, even more so, was willing to go to extreme risks in order to receive her treasure, which was God's glory. His glory is our rewards. And so this week I want to challenge you guys, if there is something that you treasure more than the heavenly things, more than God's glory, is there a posture change that you need to have? Is there something you need to take off of the throne of your life and put God back onto that seat? I encourage that for you this week.